Chiefly because of the tremendous acceptance of gas for home heating, winter demands often shoot up as high as 15 times summer requirements. To gear our pipeline highway system to summer demand would make it impossible to serve all our customers on the coldest winter days. So obviously, that is not a practical solution. We have to keep the gas flowing through our pipeline highway at full volume all during the summer, distribute enough for summer needs, and store the surplus as close to the population centers as possible to meet the heavy winter demand. As you know, that is the subject of this meeting. Where and how to store the tremendous amounts of natural gas needed to see our territory through a heavy winter. Only last week I was trying to make clear the enormity of this storage problem to my young grandson. And since figures alone, especially in the billions, don't seem to impress him, I resorted to a couple of simple illustrations. I pointed out to him that 16 houses on one square block of a residential community require 2 million cubic feet of natural gas to see them through a typical winter. To store that amount of gas takes a tank 200 feet in diameter and over 6 stories high. A city of, say, 100,000 requires approximately 4 billion cubic feet of gas during a single winter. Yet, to store even 1 billion cubic feet of gas would require 20 tanks, each as high as the Empire State Building. Therefore, storage tanks are not the solution, which leads us right back to the original problem. Where can a sufficient supply of gas to meet our huge winter demand be stored? The only possible answer seems to lie in nature itself, placing the gas back into its natural storehouse by pumping it into the same underground formation from which the original gas was withdrawn. After all, it was held safe here for millions of years. Throughout the summer, we would fill these natural reservoirs from our pipeline system, and then, during the cold months, withdraw the stored gas to supply the heavier needs of the consumer. As you all know, underground storage in depleted reservoirs has been tried and found practical on a small scale. And there's our challenge, gentlemen, to make underground storage practical on a large scale, large enough to meet the needs of our customers during even the severest winter.
And there it was, that simple and that complicated. Simple because the basic idea was so logical. Complicated because there were 1,000 unknown factors to be worked out. Now my people rolled up their sleeves and went to work. They examined well records of field after field, estimated their volume, and determined whether the field was actually a closed reservoir. They studied every detail of the gas-producing strata in the most promising fields, calculating how fast the gas could be injected and how quickly it might be withdrawn. Then, after seemingly endless and painstaking preparation, my people moved into the field. They reconditioned hundreds of old wells, installing new casings and connections to withstand the great pressures needed to pump the storage gas. And when they were finished, my people had met still another seemingly impossible challenge. For throughout America's original natural gas land, the large depleted fields found new usefulness as vast storage reservoirs to provide a steady year-round gas supply for the hundreds of communities in the area. And so today, with ample supply and adequate storage, the day-to-day challenge for my people lies in the smooth and uninterrupted operation of the immensely intricate system which transports me from well or storage pool to the millions of people who use me. As I leave the producing fields, I am carried through pipelines to a compressor station, for it takes power in the form of pressure to move me over long distances. Power supplied at needed intervals by these giant compressors. Then, back through the transmission lines to a measuring and regulating station. Here, every last cubic foot of me is measured before I am allowed to pass on through the transmission lines. Then, on to the point where I am transferred from the big transmission lines and fed into a city distribution system, known to my people as a city gate. Here, the great pressures under which I traveled in the big pipes are reduced and regulated. And then I'm sent on to district regulators, and then through the hundreds of miles of pipe which lie under the streets of a city. But simply moving me from field to city is only one part of the job. For at key points throughout the system, my rate of flow is constantly controlled as the demand for my services varies from hour to hour. The focal point and nerve center for all this intricate but vital control is here in the headquarters dispatching room. And through the actions of the dispatcher, every well, compressor station, and storage field in the system is smoothly coordinated to the constantly changing consumer requirements. It takes years of apprenticeship and more years of practice to properly interpret, analyze, and act upon this complex pipeline system. But science continues to provide better ways, and more automation is being put to work for me. By means of this telemetering system, the dispatcher controls dozens of regulators and valves without moving from his chair. By the mere push of a button, he operates a valve on a line more than 90 miles away. And as if that weren't enough, this scientific marvel sends in a continuous record of operations from every control point. Everywhere I look these days, things are automatically done. In the engineering department, it's the McElroy pipeline analyzer that helps my people to solve those knotty distribution problems. In accounting, the electronic machines seem to eat up facts and figures at jet-age speed. This one automatically computes and makes out 150 bills a minute for all kinds of users. And thus, all the facilities of the industry and the energies of all who serve me are devoted to supplying you with a continuous flow of natural gas under all conditions, hot or cold.
That cold weather we've been watching is coming in from the northwest, fast.
Sunday is supposed to be a nice quiet day in a dispatching office, but not when there's a serious cold front moving in.
Okay. The chief's on his way over.
Good. George, looks like we're in for a cold spell. Right, we're packing the line. Give us 750 pounds on the 26-inch line. Okay?
Packing the line, in ordinary language, simply means filling up the big pipelines to pressure capacity in order to have a maximum supply available for the increased demand of a sudden cold snap.
Turn them over, Joe.
Throughout the system, additional giant compressors now roar into action to increase pressure in the lines and to pump extra gas out of the storage pools. At the dispatching room, the arrival of the chief dispatcher crystallizes the strategy with which they plan to meet the increased demand brought on by the cold wave.
Better notify production and transmission superintendents. They'll want to have radio-equipped trucks and cars available at key points. And Fred, can we get more gas from the southwest? Some was available yesterday.
We're getting an additional 75 million.
Good. How about our storage pools?
We're already withdrawing from all of them. Number 6 compressor station, which we've had idled, is now pumping.
All right. That's about all we can do for now. Let's sit tight for the time being and keep our eyes on the teletype.
But what they see coming over the teletype tells them there's no let-up. Throughout the day and into the night, temperatures keep on falling steadily. By Monday, with industrial plants and stores increasing their usage after the weekend cutback, the demand for gas is about to hit the winter's peak. All over the system, in Charleston, Columbus, and Pittsburgh, the dispatchers worked around the clock to maintain adequate pressures.
The pressure on line B4 is holding well. We're watching in case it drops.
How's 62?
Ditto.
Line 24 down to 29 pounds.
Increase your take from storage pools X6, X58, X59. If the temperatures don't keep on dropping, that should see us through.
Cut your discharge pressure 50 pounds.
And so, through advanced planning and the newest technical facilities, the winter's worst is met. But complacence is not among the traits of those who serve me, for there are still countless new challenges ahead, and still more uses for my talents to add to the 20,000 already in existence.
The entire house comes with built-in appliances. And aside from the water heater and incinerator in this all-gas home, you'll have a built-in oven, fold-away tabletop burners, an automatic ice maker refrigerator, and best of all, year-round gas air conditioning, summer cooling, and winter heating.
For even though you associate me most logically with your homes, I have also won quite a name for myself in the exciting new world of petrochemistry, where I am used not as a fuel, but as a raw material for thousands of useful products, such as detergents, nylon, and synthetic rubber. I am equally popular in thousands of manufacturing processes which require a fuel with reliability, absolute cleanliness, and the ability to deliver controlled, continuous heat. The very same qualities which make possible my appearance in your homes as the burner with a brain. And because you consider me such an ideal fuel, the gas companies of the country each year build facilities to serve more and more families. And that, of course, brings us right around, full circle, to the continuing need for new sources of supply. But where is there left to search? The people who serve me have several answers. For one, right here in America's original natural gas land, but at levels far below any ever attempted before. Drilling here is more than 1.5 miles below the surface, called the deep horizon by the geologists. They believe that down there in the deep sands, reserves of natural gas may be greater than any yet discovered. And far out in the Gulf of Mexico, still more men of vision, courage, and determination sought and found tremendous untapped reservoirs of natural gas. While deep in the swamplands of Louisiana, the latest scientific findings indicate that there are fantastic new fields of the modern fuel, natural gas. Yes, my people look to the future with justifiable confidence. Each of them has his own part in making a complex system work smoothly and efficiently. Each has an interesting and vital job that makes him more than just the employee of a public utility. Each knows that his job is important, not only to himself, but to the community in which he lives. I'm truly proud to say that these are my people, the men and women who serve me, that I may better serve you.